Audiences have marveled at the durability of race boats running at high speeds in grueling long-distance marathons like Bristol, England, 24 Hours of Rouen in Paris, France, Berlin, Germany, Parker, and the Havasu Classic in Arizona. But the ultimate documentation is in the sprint courses like Augusta and St. Louis, with their brute speed, breathtaking cornering, and pure agility. It can keep any spectator on the edge of his seat. St. Louis. Ultimate performance came from the rugged horsepower of boat and driver, always pushing toward the edge of the envelope. During those early years, battles between private and corporate investors provided deep pockets and skilled engineers. Racing took on a new charm as each corporation pushed technology to new heights. The first to fall from grace was Chrysler, strangled by the fast pace of Mercury and OMC. It wasn't long before these two corporate gladiators pounded each other race after race. But it was Mercury's high performance and dedication to racing that captured most of the latest engine technology. Going non-stop with testing through competition, two of the men that pushed this sport to where it is today never took the wheel of a modern tunnel boat. OMC's president, Charlie Strang, saw racing as a way to improve technology under the guidance of team manager Jack Leake and factory-sponsored drivers like Jimbo McConnell and Cess Vandervelden proudly carried the Johnston Evinrude colors. Although OMC spearheaded a lot of new engine product, it was fact that Carl Kiekhaefer, president and founder of Mercury Marine, never did anything second class. His non-stop desire to beat arch-rival OMC led him to create the most dominating team in outboard racing history. Well-financed and well-schooled, never has the sport seen a trio of drivers like Reggie Fountain, Billy Seebold, and Earl Benz. Team Mercury was the talk of the racing world.
Well, Bristol is probably the most dangerous race course in the world that we drive on. When you're running 130 miles an hour around the Bristol docks with 8-foot walls on both sides, it gives you the feeling of driving down a tunnel very fast.
Under the management of Gary Garbrecht, innovation came at a fast and furious pace. Fuel injection, brakes, 4-blade props, it seemed that nothing was taken for granted. The idea of no detail too small continued until the late 70s, when the fuel crisis slowed the world down, and Mercury finally pulled the plug on its factory team, but not its interest in outboard racing. Win, no matter what the cost, still drives Mercury, as it still dominates the engines of tunnel boat racing. As tunnel boat racing approached the mid-'80s, with very few events left for 2-liter competition, St. Louis was the only race that most drivers could count on, until international outboard Grand Prix racing provided stability to tunnel boat racing.
In the formative years of IOGP, I would say for the first 5, we spent so much of our time on what I would call race management, trying to secure race sites, trying to find sponsors, trying to get adequate prize money, right rules and regulations, and bring the sport to a professional level. If you go to the pit area right now, you see teams, $500,000 transports, boats, 3 and 4 boats, 4 and 5 engines. It's not a sport that it used to be. It has grown, and the caliber of equipment and the caliber of the drivers certainly reflects that.
Grand Prix racing drew the best of the best. Names like Buck Thornton, Chris Busch, Jonathon Jones, Guido Cappellini. But the ultimate champion of the international circuit belonged to Bill Seebold. Heavily sponsored by Bud Light, Bill Seebold was Tunnel Boat's racing version of Babe Ruth.
I've always been fascinated with boats. My father raced before I raced. I started when I was 11. I've been racing for 39 years. Mike started when he was 12, and he's 32 years old, so basically, besides myself on a race course, he's probably the second most seasoned veteran out there. Every time that flag drops, it's a new challenge. Even though you're maybe back in Portland and maybe back in St. Louis or maybe back in Augusta, there's a different lineup of boats, there's a different set of conditions, there's a different challenge of some sort, and I think that's the thing that keeps you going really.
International outboard racing took off in high gear with solid backing. What most people don't know is that Southern California had quietly become a hotbed of serious tunnel boat outboard racing talent. Some of the biggest names and brightest stars in the champ boat class, such as Scott Gillman, Greg Foster, Jim Johnson, Jim McKay, Don Johnston, and Craig Wendt, all called California home. With a strong dedication to the sport and a sincere desire to further it, drivers like Don Johnston, at the age of 29, had become one of the most successful tunnel boat drivers in the world. Although Scott Gillman, who ran motocross and off-road racing for years, didn't enter the sport in quite the traditional manner, he found out quickly that it was tougher to drive than he thought. Down but not out, Bill Seebold kept fighting. Mike gave his all to protect his dad, but it was evident that Mr. Bill had lost his edge, and the talk of retirement seemed more evident than ever in Portland, Oregon. Between 1990 and 93, the man that any racing driver had relished beating looked like he was going down in flames. Even rain-soaked Kansas City couldn't keep Bill Seebold from grabbing his first win in over 3 years. This seemed to put more life into this 52-year-old master.
Number 51, the Arcadian. But down on the inside is number 88. That is Tim Seebold, but the trademark of Bill Seebold all year long has been able to get out very quickly. But down on the inside, number 88, having the inside line, is the Don Q rowboat of Tim Seebold. As they go around the corner, Seebold taking the short way around the race course. Number 88, Tim Seebold, still trying to run down his dad sitting out in front, but coming up hard behind him is number 38, Billy Joel, as Joel continues to press on him. He's going wide to the outside, running a light fuel load, and really got it dancing out there on this lake.
We're coming down to the wire here on Longview Lake in Kansas City. Number 88, Tim Seebold, chasing his dad and seems to be closing the gap. But this is the real story right here. Number 7, Bill Seebold, hasn't won in 3 years in North America, and yet he may be on his way to his first victory right here on Longview Lake. Bill Seebold seems to be backing off just a little bit now, and that's allowing his son Tim Seebold in the number 88 Don Q boat to catch up. There you see Timmy, and he's just a couple of seconds now behind his dad, Bill Seebold.
Well, Bill, knowing this is the final lap, he says, come on, Timmy, you got too little too late, because the checkered flag is coming out for me, and I'm the happiest man in the state of Missouri because I finally have ended the drought. It's been raining all over the Midwest, and now it's raining checkered flag for Bill Seebold.
Through the 1993 season, Seebold served notice to all the Grim Reapers. Bill Seebold is back. Number 7 won every race after Kansas City except Austin, Texas, eventually winning the 1993 High Points Championship and proving to all competitors that he could be the first driver to win back-to-back titles. In 1985, it was Jonathon Jones who started it all in New Orleans. In 1986, Michael Werner survived everyone in Padre Island. 1987, Chris Bush held on tightly in Fort Lauderdale. 1988, Don Johnston, running for Arcadian, ran hard to survive. 1989, the master himself, Bill Seebold, added another page in history. 1990, the talented Scott Gillman showed the world truly he belonged. 1991, first-rate Craig Wendt proved he was the man to beat. 1992, the undaunted Mike Seebold proved he had leadership in Bud Light. Will history repeat itself, or will a new face on the International Outboard Grand Prix circuit emerge to carry that championship flag?